Myra's name didn't appear on any enrollment form. But she showed up in Mrs. Halberd's AP physics class anyway, sat in the second row, and completed the entire semester's coursework in her first week. No one saw her take notes. No one saw her eat lunch, but she smiled like she'd been there forever. Her ID scanned properly, her records matched the school system, her guardian's contact information connected to a silent voicemail box that always said the same thing: unavailable. By the third week, even the substitute teachers knew not to question her. She solved problems professors couldn't. In chemistry, she corrected the textbook, and when challenged, she proved the correction by recreating a volatile compound with perfect accuracy without gloves or hesitation. A sophomore boy muttered mutant under his breath once. She turned to him with a pleasant grin and asked, "Isn't mutation just accelerated evolution?" He never spoke to her again. The school counselor scheduled an appointment. Myra accepted it without question. During the session, she didn't fidget or blink too much. When asked about her feelings, she asked back, "Why do humans fear what they can't control more than what can harm them?" The counselor ended the session early and filed a vague behavioral report that mysteriously vanished the next day. A retired Marine working as a janitor noticed a pattern. A black SUV sat across the street every morning. Same men, dark suits. No tags, no movement. They just waited. One day, he made the mistake of knocking on the window. He didn't return to work the next day, or ever. In the teacher's lounge, whispers began. Myra had tested out of every placement exam and record. Time, she knew Greek, Sanskrit, Mandarin. She played piano like a prodigy, but claimed never to have learned. One teacher called her the perfect student. But when the vice principal looked up her middle school records, all files were listed under classified access. The search pinged a government firewall, and then Mr. Elson, the head of the science department, went missing. He'd called the district office the day before in a frenzy, claiming Myra had rewritten quantum mechanics in a margin note. His classroom was found empty, no sign of forced entry, but his laptop remained open, cursor blinking over an unfinished email. "She's not by now." The school had grown quiet when she walked through the halls, not fearful, more reverent. Like they knew she wasn't just another transfer student. Freshmen tried to sneak a photo of her. His phone shut down permanently the moment the shutter clicked. He brought it to tech support, who found the motherboard fused. The camera lens had melted from the inside. She still came to class, still smiled, still answered questions with precision no textbook could match. But no one sat beside her anymore. Even the teachers kept their distance. And every day, the black SUV waited across the street, watching the girl no one had seen before that semester. The girl who shouldn't exist but somehow did. Asterisk Dana Mercer wasn't assigned to children, schools, or anything mundane. Her cases involved cyber espionage, black budget programs, and occasionally things the public would call conspiracy theories. But her supervisor handed her a slim folder labeled Myrellaville 9 Priority and told her to go to Millfield High School. No further explanation, just one warning: don't engage unless she engages first. She arrived the next day under a fabricated Department of Education cover. Myra spotted her instantly. No hesitation, no awkward introductions. "Agent Mercer," she said calmly as Dana walked down the hallway. "Took you longer than I predicted." Dana froze. Her alias hadn't been revealed. Her face wasn't on any file. The girl had no way of knowing. Myra handed her a small drive and said, "You won't believe it unless you see it yourself." Then she turned and walked away, not a glance back. Dana plugged the drive into her secure laptop that night. It bypassed her decryption software like it was a joke. The contents? A video of a DOD Black Ops briefing from 1982 discussing something called Project Echo Child. A narrator stated that Earth had encountered a foreign intelligence anomaly embedded in human society and attempted to isolate and contain it in the form of controlled synthetic humanoids. All had failed. All except one. The subject survived. Biometrics on screen matched Myra. Exactly, despite the footage being over 40 years old, Dana ran a check through Homeland Security's biometric system. Myra's file triggered a firewall. Breach. Her system froze, and a red alert flashed. Level red containment breach, human interface protocol compromised. The next night, a noise woke Dana at 3:14 a.m. She reached for her sidearm as a silent drone slipped in through the ventilation. It hovered midair, sleek, alien in design, and completely silent. But before Dana could shoot, a pulse emitted from the hallway. Mira stepped into view. She raised her hand. The drone collapsed in midair, like a puppet with its strings cut, smoking. She glanced down at it and said softly, "They're testing your response time now." Dana demanded answers. Mira sat on the floor, legs crossed, like a child, and said, "They thought I would adapt. They underestimated what Earth would do with me." Then she asked Dana a simple question. If something looks human, acts human, but doesn't die, what does your government label it as? Back at headquarters, Dana tried to escalate her findings. Every system locked her out. Her credentials were revoked within hours. Her phone stopped working. Her ID badge was invalid. She wasn't being fired. She was being erased. On a hunch. She accessed an old microfiche archive of federal ID photos. 1964, 1971, 1985. A girl, same eyes. Same smile was photographed at the edge of classified events throughout U.S. history. Same face. Never aging, always just. There Mira hadn't been hiding. She'd been tolerated, watched, archived, until now. And suddenly, Dana understood. The FBI wasn't watching Mira because they feared what she'd do. They feared what would follow if she ever stopped pretending to be one of us. "I wasn't born," Mira said. "I was activated." Dana didn't speak. She only listened as Mira explained everything with the clarity of someone who had rehearsed the truth for a very long time. Long before your species knew what atoms were, a race called the Pale Accord seeded thousands of young worlds with a device, a single construct, a test unit. I was one of them. Not a weapon, not a spy, a measure. The Accord, Mira continued, was ancient, so old they had forgotten how to feel. Their empire was built not on war, but on classification. Civilizations were either useful, compliant, or extinguished. To determine which, they implanted a being like her into the developmental timeline of a species. Not to influence, but to observe how that species responded to the unknown. Most civilizations failed. Some tried to dissect the anomaly, worshipped it. A few tried to erase it entirely. None passed, till Earth. "You didn't kill me," she said, "but you didn't worship me. You gave me school books. You assigned me homework. Your kind taught me about kindness, suspicion, compassion, and cruelty. Al treated me like something in between. You gave me contradictions. I wasn't prepared for contradictions." Dana asked, the only question that mattered. "Why now?" "Because the test is ended," Mira said. "The Accord received the final signal a week ago. The data is complete. Earth has been classified." "Classified how?" "Unknown," Mira answered. "That's never happened before. They expected you to fail. The Accord didn't account for Earth's chaos. For how humans blend logic with emotion, rage with mercy, invention with destruction. No. The test was never about intelligence. It was about how a species reacts to the unexplainable, whether it burns it, buries it, or tries to understand it. Earth did all three, and now the Accord didn't know what to do with humanity. They're coming," Mira said, "to welcome you, to contain what they don't understand." Dana, still reeling, asked why Mira was telling her all this. "'Cause Earth changed me too," Mira said softly. "I was meant to upload data and go dormant, but I stayed awake. I wanted to. Keep learning. I felt fear. I felt anger. I started to care." Dana understood. Mira wasn't a synthetic machine anymore. She had become something the Accord never anticipated. Human by choice. The Pale Accord saw Earth's unpredictability as a threat. Would arrive soon, with sterilization fleets and logic engines, prepared to overwrite the planet's chaos with clean silence. But Mira had no intention of letting that happen. "They tested humanity with me," she said. "But now I want to test them. See what happens when Earth answers back." And with that, She walked away no longer a student, no longer a subject, just a girl with too much history and too little time ready to stand between her adopted planet and the stars that now feared it. Asterisk. They arrived without warning, silver lattice ships that folded into orbit like blades of moonlight. The Pale Accord didn't bother with declarations or threats. They disabled every satellite, jammed communications, and silenced the ISS in under a minute. Their intention wasn't conquest. It was correction. Earth had produced an outcome they had never predicted, and their solution was sterilization. Governments panicked. Networks collapsed. Military responses proved useless. Anything launched into the sky vanished before reaching the stratosphere. Humanity was being locked out of its own planet, shut down like a misbehaving simulation. But Myra had prepared. Had warned a small circle of scientists, engineers, old intelligence ghosts. In secret, they had worked under a blackout protocol called Project Guardian. With Mira's interface and insight, they had fused human engineering with recovered fragments of Accord tech. Crude, chaotic, unrefined, but fast, dirty, and unpredictable. Just like the species that built it, the first strike came from Alaska. A human prototype craft launched straight through a no-fly zone. Its interior running off jury-rigged processors, patch-coded by a teenager in Malaysia. The Accord didn't detect it as a threat until it detonated above the atmosphere, broadcasting a pulse Myra had designed. Signal composed not of math but emotion, fear, awe, wonder, defiance. The Accord staggered. Not physically, but cognitively. They had never received anything like it. Their ships hesitated. Some began drifting. For the first time in eons, the Accord were confused. On Earth, Mira linked herself to the neural network built from scavenged satellites and buried fiber lines. Her synthetic body had always been an interface. Now she became Earth's voice. I am the anomaly you created. She transmitted across every Accord frequency. I am your mirror, broken by the ones you underestimated. Dana stood beside her, watching as Myra's body flickered, her systems burning under the pressure of full activation. She was overclocking herself to keep the link open. And still, she smiled. The Accord tried to shut the signal down. They sent kill code pulses, mind-blank surges, raw logic overrides. But human engineers had made one critical edit. They built chaos into the code. There were no patterns to trace, no systems to dominate, just the messy, resilient noise of a billion minds refusing to be categorized. One by one, the Accord vessels froze. Some turned on each other, systems scrambled by emotional feedback loops they couldn't interpret. Their empire had thrived by eliminating uncertainty, and Earth had just weaponized it. As her systems failed, Mira spoke a final time. Tell them. This world passed a test. It was never meant to survive. Not because it's perfect, but because it never stops asking. Why? Her body shut down, but the signal endured. Across the galaxy, a message pulsed from the wreckage. Earth. Designation altered. Unclassifiable. Uncontainable. Interference prohibited. And just like that, the Pale Accord vanished. No grand battle. No heroes in capes. Just a world that refused to fit neatly into anyone's file, and the girl who proved that humanity's greatest weapon was being human.